Go. What's up, everyone? This is the Godfather Dictator.
And Sarah from 17.
Welcome back to Chapter 4 of the Master Ninja Run No Damage. And early beginning, nightmare as always.
Yep. This is the famous tunnel that once did not have bats. But there was a certain mission, a certain dev meeting, where Itagaki thought that would look cooler with bats. And alas, we have this wonderful section right now where if you stand still, you'll not trigger them and you can shoot them with the bow, as Godfather's doing. And he's going to be endeavoring in to take on this awful sequence, which has Ghels, ninjas, and everybody else waiting to gangbang him in every orifice. And he's going to try his best to not let that happen. I personally really despise the beginning of this mission. I find it to be very difficult for obvious reasons. And we're going to see what it looks like when you know what you're doing with this video game.
Yeah, it took a while to actually get that section just right, and that's why the other guy who did the other run, Asian dude, skipped.
Did he skip most of it?
He skipped this entire section and went to the...
I also skipped this entire section.
to the and here, there's one thing that really helped me out. Do you see the luck in the nimble
When you got the drop for the nimble.
Insane though. You see another one back there.
Double?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, the shit really worked out for me.
That never happens.
It's very rare. I'm not gonna lie. So when it happened, I was really happy.
So if I were to leave a comment saying the only reason you did this is because you got double nimpo drops, what would you say?
I would probably say you're damn right. But there's so many times I tried before, and if I didn't get the nimbo, I would always seem to get overwhelmed by the archer. These guys are insane, and I think the enemy should be deleted from the game, you know?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? How do you make Ninja Gaiden's archers better? Because when they have rockets, there's travel time on their weapon because it's projectile. But when they have the bow, it's practically hit scan, and they never miss.
No, they don't. So, besides using the angle trick, which will say if you don't have, a cover to do that, you're fucked, basically. Because unless you're lucky enough with the movement, where sometimes if you dash at the right time on a singular archer, it's not gonna hit you. But if not, the majority of the time you're gonna get fucked.
Definitely.
And I think the design is kind of overkill compared to, we'll say, the zombie archer that has at least a good delay.
When he holds his cannon up, that one's really fair.
That's why they're giving you, a clue that you're about to get hit. But in here, the archer, they're just straight up sniper with their bow, and it's just insane. So that's also one strat I'm using here.
Was that forward X with the Luna just then?
Yeah, that was, and it's a high percentage delim move with the Lunar. It works very great, and as you can see now, I have the Lunar level 3, so it's even a higher percentage. And then
level 3 Luna, baby.
Triple kill. Did you see that? That was nasty, actually. And
there is something satisfying when you see the instant kill icons pop up on the screen and the karma points and all the gore. It's a very visceral game.
It is. And that's one thing, I'm not gonna lie, that you're probably gonna hear me say that a lot through the game, but with all the bullshit that this game has, I really respect, if you want...
Are you shooting through the metal?
I am.
You're cheating. This is not fair. Must redo.
But I really respect the violence of the combat in that game,
There's almost nothing like this game when it comes to this kind of character violence.
No, there is not. And here, did you see how close I was to getting hit?
Yeah, really close. Oof. And a gold Vangelf too, so he would have hit like a truck.
And that would have been the end, and it's the last fight, so it's clearly not a place where you want to die. And also you can use... Here I actually failed, but if you move a little, you can shoot in between.
The jumping two-handed swipe.
I was scared there.
Should have been. That breath move has interesting detection.
It is. It's really odd, and also I missed my my first D-lim attempt with the forward X, and now like you see, you sneak in under that metal bar or whatever that is, and that's why I need to kind of be careful there because you don't know when that would happen.
Ooh, that was nice.
Perfect blocking.
Yeah, guard reset twice into D-lim. Quintessential Ninja Gaiden 2.
So that was the last of them. Unclenching butt right now.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what they were thinking with that sequence, because the developers had to know that they put so many enemies there that when they're all trying to ferociously tear you apart, they all get stuck on this wonderful designed map they've made. Like, just a bunch of enemies running into the geometry the whole time because they can't pathfind correctly doesn't seem like something you would want in your game.
But at the same time, it's because if you fight them, we'll say, at the designated area, you're gonna most likely get fucked because I feel like you don't have much of breathing room. So at
they just jump and grab you.
Yeah,
off camera.
Yeah, it's really annoying. So at the same time, I feel that it actually worked for our advantage. The fact that they actually run, on the walls.
Oh yeah, it definitely works to your advantage, and it does make it easier. If you look at it from a perspective of the developer, if you watch that, the first thing you must be thinking is, ooh, we should have changed that somehow for that not to happen that way, because it just looks kind of silly.
Yeah, and well...
for a man who turns ghost fish deadly because he doesn't see the point of decorative ghost fish, you would think he would want them to be able to circumnavigate a piece of iron or steel or whatever that was.
But after all that time, trust me, if developer look at the game, there's a lot of things that they could have changed.
That is the last thing that's going to get brought up in the list of changes that ND2
like that's one of the things, but I mean there's so many things in that game that, as we mentioned it multiple times, this game could have really benefited from a black version.
Ninja Gaiden 2 Black would have been perfect.
Yeah, it would have, because they could have got rid of the silly stuff. And here we have the awesome dog that also the other guy skipped, and the only reason
he skipped the dogs?
Yeah, he skipped the dog.
I don't blame him, dude. Yeah. These dogs don't make any sense, and I wish they didn't exist.
Yeah, no, it's true. They're really annoying, but what works out for my advantage here is that right now, and I've explained that along the way.
So cool.
It is. There's the concept of enemy prioritization, if you want, on Ryu. How they're gonna attack. And in that case, why they're not attacking is because...
Do they have to circle before they can attack?
No, that's not even it. It's because, do you see the dog in the background that are running through the stair? They're the one right now that the game is prioritizing to aggro me.
Oh, so everybody else has to wait their turn before he's attacked.
Exactly. So
I did not know that.
Yes, it's something a lot of people don't realize. But another enemy that you can notice doing that is the Rasetsu in chapter 10.
So they have to take their turn.
They have to take their turn, and sometimes what was so annoying is that if you're fighting two in close quarter, and then the third one that spawned become the priority, and he's become the one that's supposed to aggro you, but he appeared all the way back there, well, the other two are going to become spammy motherfucker near you in those instances, So
instead of waiting, those guys can fire projectiles.
Exactly. They're going to do their wind blade a lot more, and it's actually a lot more annoying. So that's why it's the same concept with the dogs, and that includes also the ninja up to a point, but it's...
How did you dodge that? That was 2 suicide lunges back to back.
Yeah, that was a lucky break here also, like at the perfect moment, when everything happened. And...
I don't think I saw this part on the stream, so this is all new to me, this.
Yeah, well, that's also the other nice thing, is that when we redo this, you can also get to see the little part that you might have missed, and you see
I saw the first chapter in almost its entirety. I saw the second chapter in its entirety, and then the rest has been a bit spotty.
Yeah, well, some here and there, and also, to be honest, is because some of it has been done outside of the stream. Not the majority, mind you, but I did do a little bit outside of the stream simply because, well, I don't want to stay stuck 10 years on that run.
That's a really good point.
I would like for it to move on, and I mean, honestly, I'm not going to spoil stuff further in because you already know some of the stuff that's going to come up though. But honestly, this run so far has been, I think, really awesome. Like, in my opinion, not like over bragging over the run or anything. I'm just like,
no, this run is straight biblical, and it's going to get so much better. People don't even realize. If you're sitting here watching this thinking this is ridiculous, you haven't seen a damn thing yet.
Yeah, that's true. There's going to be a lot more crazier part along the way, and yeah.
But what am I talking about? Everybody sitting watching this are all Ninja Gaiden masters, aren't they?
Yeah, they could all do it with
see what you do.
Lunar level 1. I mean, yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, I did it with my feet before you were born.
So someone did it blindfold also.
I wouldn't be surprised. People are crazy.
You're gonna see that guy who's gonna be like, well, I did all of that blindfold. So
I did it while I had somebody punching me in the face. Easy mode.
That would sound something like you would do though. Hardcore, all the way. Master Ninja while fighting someone. Yeah, there we go.
It makes it sound like I can take a punch. Stop spreading lies.
Well, I know you can with those stories from the other time,
Don't tell them my secrets, man. I'm an international man of mystery.
Right. So here we got another IS Ninja fight. They're kind of not too bad because, as you can see, they spawn.
Are they all dropping in the same spot?
Yes, they're dropping one at a time, and there I'm doing the. I don't know how to call it when you jump with the shuriken, and Ryu actually gain more height from it. Like in a static jump, and he goes in the air.
You call it like a jump extension, maybe? Something like that?
Yeah, okay, yeah, we could call it like this. It rarely happens, and when it happened,
or a high profile.
A high profile jump. It rarely happens, but when it does, the majority of the time it puts you in a shitty spot. Because you're...
Now this sequence I saw, because we were talking about the bridge, weren't we? And I said the bridge of endless, never-ending Van Ghels. Yeah. And you thought I meant this section. How little you knew what was coming up.
Yeah, I thought you meant this section. And I'm not gonna lie, though, fighting those enemy is really boring, the flying enemy, They're not...
Yeah, the flying enemies are shit. I'd love to see somebody justify their existence, because I just don't think you can. Especially the ones that respawn so much that they don't even give you karma anymore, because there's just that many.
Yeah, and you see, I think it's in this chapter, actually, later on, I do the majority of these fights. I fight the majority of the flying, these flying fucker, I'll call them. And there's one fight that I don't do, is the one where you're on that little balcony, and there's like a shit ton of them, and there's like no room for movement, so no thank you, I'm not gonna fight them there. But
was this the part where you started to appreciate the value of the incendiary shurikens?
Yes, they are very good though in that game. Much more powerful than one would think. A lot more powerful, actually. It surprised me the few time around, and the most noticeable one I could say is against Armadillo.
Yeah, the Armadillo fight's great for them.
It's really useful. I mean, if not, you can of course get close, but I think it's one of those strat that works out great. So, are these guys?
Yeah, if you get lucky with the Armadillo, you can stun lock face. Yeah. You can kill it very quickly. But if you don't get it to flinch, it'll just steamroll you.
It's actually awesome. And here I was thinking, are these guys gonna ever stop, spawning?
I do like the rain on this sequence. I wish the lightning struck a bit more, but it's probably for the best because the 360 would have died.
Yeah, I mean, there's even some. You see, there was a little bit.
Yeah, there was a stutter there. Yeah, for us.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about not the X, but the S. So
this might be a good opportunity to talk about that, actually, because there might be people that have more experience with playing this version and they understand the differences, because between the two of us, we're starting to believe that this emulated version of Ninja Gaiden 2 is a slightly different animal to the original.
Yeah, but one thing is, because the thing is I would like to, to say for 100% that it is, but the fact that I have not played enough of the 360 version, I only played 3 chapters back then, so that's not enough for me to get a true idea on how it is. But I can confirm 100% in NGB does make a difference. And there's
Yeah.
certain thing that, for instance, that was not planned, by the way, right here. I wanted to jump, and I don't know why I did it.
I was going to say, I was wondering what you were doing there. It got quite scary when the gang of van decided to start clicking their way towards you.
Yeah, that was not intentional, by the way. So I noticed a big difference, for instance, with Alma's projectile in NGB. It tended to track better and was hitting you a lot easier, especially in those little close area. You know, the one from Eternal Legend. And
Yes, I do.
And the Giant of the Underworld section, and I could clearly notice a difference, but it took me a while, and it's mostly because I had already played a shit ton of Ninja Gaiden Black back then that I knew, but this one I couldn't pronounce, but we got Farnham and Lubu on the stream that both played a lot on Xbox 360, and that both kind of
Well, you can already see the difference as well with the slowdown. The game is obviously moving at a faster click the whole time, and it's going to have an effect. It's just all the stuff that we don't know what it is affecting that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but
Because if you look at something like Resident Evil 4, if you ever played that, which I know you did, of course,
yeah,
great
yeah,
game,
yeah.
30 frames per second, and then you play the 60 frames per second, and every animation of every enemy is different, and it throws you off, and you feel it immediately because you're getting smacked, and it makes the game harder.
It does, yeah, it does. It's exactly that. I think in this case, it's not for 100% certainty, but I would say that projectile would most likely be affected because I feel the way you're, well, how can we say you're getting spam if you want in the air, and how insane it is. And one thing that I've noticed a lot by playing the beginning of chapter 11 for 4 days straight is that the fuse seems to be really random. As much as I want it to be like, there might be a certain way, you know, to know exactly when it's going to explode.
Fuses are sporadic at best.
Yeah, and it's really annoying, and sometimes you feel like it's the AI that's almost too good at doing the perfect thing at the perfect time to fuck you
And they
over.
totally are. There's no two words about it. I think everybody would agree. There's only one other game that has ever done the perfect thing when it was needed to the extent that this game does, and that's God Hand on hard mode. Never played any games like those two when it comes to... They did the exact thing they needed to do in that moment. Like, it's literally Capcom... Not Capcom, sorry. It's SNK's boss syndrome.
Yeah, it's
One
like they
frame grab
react
reaction punishing.
perfectly to what you're doing. Like they read a bit like your pattern and such. That's actually
They do.
one game that I don't know when, but I'm gonna try to look at it because you mentioned it to me multiple times. Gaiden, and it seems
What,
like,
God Hand?
Yeah,
Oh, that'll
yeah,
be interesting.
yeah.
God Hand is superb.
Yeah, so that's why I'll probably check it out at some point. So here we have a really hard fight here on the bridge, and
Yeah, this is a tough one.
I've used Nimpo because I don't know if you recall, but earlier I shot some barrel and I left a chest there, and
You did.
that place actually contained more Nimpo essence, so that's why right now I've actually made use of multiple Nimpo on that fight because I know there's a refill back there.
It's so satisfying watching you fight the Van Gelsen too. If you play 3 and do the trials, and you play Razor's Edge and do the trials, the Van Gels are so unsatisfying to fight. They're so frustrating. But in this game, it just works. I don't know how you go from this
can kill you
to
fast. They can kill you fast, and you can kill them fast. But from what you tell me, in NG3, they take forever and they're not fun.
No, they're not.
So that's the main problem. And I respect the fact that in this one, you can get murdered extremely fast, but you can also, you know, rip them to shred extremely fast, and that's the satisfying.
It's part of the game's balance as well. It's built to be that way.
Wait, did we hear the word balance in that game here right now?
Well, you say I use it fleetingly. You know. I'm not Reuter. I don't think that this game has no problems.
No, there's a few things that
There is a balance here. It just happens to be heavily balanced in the favor of the enemy.
of the enemy. Yeah, there we go. All right. So as you can see here, the Nimpo that I was mentioning, that's why I travel all the way back. Because now anyway I can save before the checkpoint of the what's the name of the enemy boss that you fight
Is
on
it the
bridge?
giant troll guy?
Yeah.
I actually don't know his name.
Well, let's call him the giant troll guy.
I just remember the strategy that Rhyme was showing on his walkthrough back in the day, where it was literally square XXY with the lunar while holding block in front of one of his legs, and it works. You know, it's simple, it's classic.
Well, it will be similar to what I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm using the
Did you do 360Y?
The 360Y, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really similar. I feel. And later on, if I recall, when I get the Tonfas, there's one I think in the military chapter that you're fighting.
I
out
didn't
in the
see
open.
any of that.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm gonna be most likely using the Tonfa if I recall. So yeah, that's gonna be different, but it's gonna be similar in terms of move. But I don't know. I really love the Tonfas in that game. And here, don't even ask me why I decided to do that fight. Alright,
This is an interesting one.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Interestingly boring for people to do.
And not even that, look at this bullshit. They're firing through the geometry and then flying behind the geometry, and you can't shoot through it.
No, you
But
cannot.
they can.
And if you take your time, and
Look
that's
at this.
close call. And if you take your time and try to ADS, they will hit you through the truck and all of this, and it's actually really disgusting to watch. But you're shooting through right now. Also.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
you can see. I was.
So this truck is just a suggestion then, it's actually...
it does not exist.
It's a piece of metaphysical crisis.
There's no truck there, so it's none.
There is no spoon, nor is there a truck.
Yeah, right. The Matrix. So basically, after this, I spawned the other wave, and
Ooh, that's scary.
and there, what do you think I was saying in my head?
I was probably cursing. I would have been cursing the moment he touched that ladder.
Get the fuck off that ladder, you dumbass! Like,
Oh,
oh
I
my
hate that
god,
stuff.
yeah, I fucking hate when this happens. But I don't know how many times though. Seriously, in that game, there's some stuff that are out of my control where I try to, push the joystick and do a dash, and the game just leave me in the same position.
You see,
And-
I'm kind of conflicted with this, because you're talking about input drops.
Yeah.
And these happen in games. We all know they happen. Sometimes it can be when the system gets too many inputs at once and it just kind of brain farts and it can't read what you're doing. Other times it can be a player error, it can be controller error, it can be a lot of things. But I don't remember when I was playing NG2 on the 360 the controller input drops being that big of a deal. And it makes me wonder if playing it on emulation is creating them. Because me and Zoc were playing Razor's Edge Trials on Xbox One emulation, and we were getting consistent input drops in that game. And don't get me wrong, Ninja Gaiden 3 and Razor's Edge have the most input drops of almost any game I've ever played. It happens all the time. You can hear your analog flicking and you do not move. And there was a moment when we were doing Ultimate Ninja 1 where two Genshins were fighting one each, and they both did a void, we both waited, we both went to dodge, and we both instantly died because we got a consistent input drop together. What are the chances of that?
Well, I don't know.
But I don't remember ever having that problem in this game, and I've watched you die several times because of it. And it makes me wonder if the emulation is creating this to be more of a problem than it used to be. But it's been such a long time since I've played NG2 seriously that I honestly couldn't talk if the original was actually like that, and my memory's just rose tinting it.
Yeah, and also it's the fact that you know me on these type of things, and I'm not.
Oh wow, that does do good damage. Oof, you hitting both legs then?
Yeah, I would. If you're in the front, you can hear both leg, and you can even hit part of his head here. You see, like a little.
This is a
bit.
God of War boss. This when you can block 90% of what it does.
Yeah,
You're
and that's
playing God of
something.
War.
Yeah, that's something I did not know. So I thought a lot of these moves you had to dash until I just stand there and was blocking, and I was like, I'm
Yeah,
not.
because most moves in this game, if you try to block it, they'll shit down your throat.
Another infamous fight. Why? Because it's straight after that boss.
No
If you-
checkpoint,
if
right?
you get hit here, you have to restart it. So.
And because you are a man, you don't do what 99% of everybody else that plays this game does, which is to run into the building
Yeah, right.
and get away from this entire bukkake that's happening right now.
So the thing is you would think it's not bad to run near the side of the building. The only problem with it is that you make spawn some IS ninja.
You spawn ninjas, right? Yeah.
So unless you commit to not fighting those guys at all, which I mean you can skip, you can just go straight in and just fight the ninjas, and that will be it. But,
I do like it when they're casually floating around flying, because you can just kill them with the bow.
Yeah, but in that case they were really spammy.
And that fireball in Sigma 2 on Master Ninja, I believe, is a one-hit kill.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't kill you one hit here, but it does seriously a good bit of damage. I mean, I think it's fair damage considering.
I think it's hard to die in one hit in this game, even with the original life bar, but there are some moves that will do it.
Yeah,
Didn't the Bone Skeleton kill you in one hit?
Yeah, Bone Skeleton can kill you in one hit. Well, the grab mostly or close to one hit. Suicide Ninjas, certain move will kill you in one hit.
Because I always think of Darkside Phil, you know, he's like, oh my god, it took 100% of my life. 60%. I always think of him when it comes to getting one hit.
And it's not a true one hit, basically.
No, it's not. His brain doesn't work. His maths are flawed, is all.
So, actually, you know what? We're going to have a good bit to talk here because that's one of those cases right after this that I'm going to do one of those Fiend challenge. And
interesting.
Yeah,
that long.
Yeah, it's a long one. And here, as you can see, I decided to combine.
Get them all together, right?
Yeah, combine the fight because when you're gonna use Nimpo, in that case, a lot of
the wind blades are so strong. I love them.
Yeah, a lot of OT obviously because that's what you set up for with the wind blade, and I don't know, combining the fight not only makes it more awesome because hey, there's more blood, so everything, you know, parts flying.
It also
everywhere.
makes it easier in some ways because you're getting damage and more kills.
Exactly, because you know.
Imagine the Tonfas on this corridor.
Oh my god, that would have been so nice. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe at some point, just for fun, you know, later on, I could just do a Tonfa run or something like that. Another weapon that I feel is overlooked, and I've been having a really fun time actually since you and Farnham pointed it out.
Kusarigama, right?
Exactly. I gotta love the grab.
No one uses the Kusarigama, and it's a beautiful grapple machine.
It is. It is really good, and it's set up for, you know, OT. I don't know if the D-limb rate is 100%, but I feel
oh yeah, when you grab them with the those moves are fantastic.
So it's really awesome. So right now it's one of those examples where I decided to do it, and like, was it worth it in the long run? I could say not really.
No, never.
no, not really. But a little bit for the essence.
The essence could be.
That's the only positive thing here. Because if not, even the reward is not really worth it. You get a talisman of rebirth, I think, at the end.
Look at this combination of enemies, right? Ninja Gaiden.
But it's one of the best. It's one of the best in terms that it's scrappy, but it's one of the most fair. I mean, the next one that you have, or the first one that you have in chapter 3. Is a combination of purple ninja and the advanced mage that you cannot even kill with the ultimate technique of the lunar. So it's terrible. And then after the one that I remember in the wolf castle, you get to fight some you get to fight some red wolf with the fiend dog.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
just thinking about that. No,
I got
uninstall.
I got in. I was like, no, thank you. You know, I'm not doing this. So, out of the majority of the Fiend challenge, if you want so far,
I love that you call them Fiend challenges. Never.
Fiend challenge, fucking hell! You fight it. That's
Everyone's just all like, actually, I think you'll find it's a test of valor, you noob.
Yeah, all that in diehard Fiend challenge. No, it
is a Fiend challenge.
It is kind of a Fiend challenge, yeah. So
it's a bunch of enemies you never want to fight together in a. It's like a boiled arsehole. It's a Fiend challenge.
Yeah, it is. So basically, I think it's one of the most fair because these enemies they're annoying, but the bones, you know, are kind of easy to kill. And while the other one with ET, you can most of the time deal in them, which is nice for a setup.
Do you think those bone crawlies, scorpion things, should be one-hit death?
I think they should.
Them?
Yeah.
You think they should just be popcorn enemies that just explode like ghost fish?
Yeah. I think
they
should.
So much better.
It would. And it should have been. They should have not have been also those fiend bat that sometimes don't die to ultimate technique of a lunar. I mean, a bat that doesn't die to an ultimate technique to me is just fucking insane.
Yeah.
And actually,
while we had steroids and growth hormone, what did you think would happen? Come on.
Itagaki loves bat. And what happened
Whoa, were
there?
you whiffing OTs then?
Yeah, I don't know what happened exactly.
That was weird.
It was really odd. And actually, one thing we can talk about right now, while we're at it, because it's a long Fiend challenge, is those those things that could have made that game a masterpiece, if you want, overall, if they would have worked on it, and it's not necessarily a huge thing, but one
Well, like sewing up the IS Ninja's pocket so they can't throw shit in.
yeah, but it's crazy that they throw faster than Ryu. I pointed that out. Incendiary Shuriken Ninja have the equivalent of the ultimate technique of Incendiary Shuriken throw for Ryu, which is freaking stupid. And they throw it even faster, And the other one that I think we can agree on is, why would they lock the camera when you're doing an ultimate technique,
So in Ninja Gaiden Black, you could turn the camera while you're doing a UT, right?
Yeah, you can turn it around.
In Ninja Gaiden 3 and Ninja Gaiden RE, you can turn the camera while doing a UT. So it is an interesting question why it doesn't work the same here.
But that's me. It's really annoying, I think, because there's sometimes.
Do you think it was a system limitation because of how beautiful this game is? Because let's be fair, this game has aged really well, and when it came out, it was gorgeous for the times and for the frame rates it was trying to hit.
It was. But I don't know if it's because of that, but regardless, I feel it's putting you a lot of time in a shitty situation where you're gonna be facing a direction that you don't want to be facing, and that's the main problem, is because I don't like the aspect of game, because of a certain design putting you, if you want, in a shitty situation that you have zero control over.
Well, like the recovery frames on the end of a UT that you cannot cancel out of.
Yes, that's
They have no invincibility.
It's a perfect example, you see.
Because we know how much you love those.
Yes. It's because I hate things in Ninja Gaiden that is out of your control. The balance in Black is so beautifully done, I feel, that when you get hit or anything like this, you understand, what happened, why you got hit, and most likely it was within your control to do something, out of the situation to avoid taking damage. But in this one, there's a lot of time where you're taking damage and you're really thinking to yourself, I couldn't have done anything else to avoid taking damage there. Like, there's nothing I could have done. I was, we'll say, soft lock after ultimate technique. And that's a really frustrating aspect, I feel.
I feel like the design of this game allows the enemies to sync up a lot more than they did in Black. The only times in Black probably where the enemies get to that kind of capacity is when you do the higher end mission mode stuff, where there are enemies that go together that just aren't suited to be together for good reasons.
Yes.
But in this game, it's kind of the full game, isn't it? They've got so many elements that come together that they sync up so perfectly that avoiding damage can most likely be inescapable.
It's a pain in the ass, and I don't know what you thought about it when you were playing long ago, because it's been a while that you played.
Well, I actually want to talk about something. So, I would continue the tangent that I was on, asking about the ever-interesting pill bugs in this game and the difference between the series. But I can't remember where that conversation went, because this is 2 weeks after we started it. Because as you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, we came across some technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's not much else to add on that. So we're gonna pick up from here, and I don't know. We're gonna talk about that Fiend challenge, I guess, real quick. Yep. That I probably said at the beginning, though, of the Fiend challenge. Regardless, it's a useless Fiend challenge, but it's useful for the essence. If that makes sense, because like useless for the reward, you get Talisman of Rebirth here. So like, what's the point of that in the no damage run? None. But it gives you a lot of money. It's useful in the long run. You can never have too much on that difficulty, pretty much.
It would be nice if they could give some kind of double-edged to an item such as that. Could you imagine if, when you have the Talisman of Rebirth equipped, it gave you a passive 10 to 15% extra damage, and then when you use it, you lose it? So there's a reward for people who never need it, but there's a reason to equip it outside of its very linear focus.
That's interesting actually. One thing I was gonna say about it that I kind of like in that game more is that you can decide to activate it or not.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
You know, so this way, I mean, there was time in my NGB run where, like, I don't think you were there back then, but where I was doing a Fiend challenge, I didn't know what was the reward in the chest, so I was opening it, and, you know, it was a Talisman of Rebirth, and after doing that entire Fiend challenge, I was like, fuck, I cannot restart the Fiend challenge just to not open the chest, because I now know what's inside the chest, so I would keep the Talisman of Rebirth. The problem with that is that in NGB...
Did you have to keep resetting when you died?
Yes, because I would have to let myself, if not die twice. I had 2 Talisman of Rebirth, you know, so...
That is the worst.
it's really fucking bad. So that's why I think it's kind of neat in that one where you can decide to activate it or not. But I think the idea of having extra damage for having it and not using it would be interesting, you know. But I don't know. I think they never thought about that kind of damage boost with that type of combat back then.
Well, we never get damage boosts in games like this outside of something like the Unlaboured Flawlessness, but it doesn't even have to be damage. It can be any kind of system that gives you a reason to have it instead of not having it. Because one of the things that bugs me most about game design is when they have a linear focus like that and they don't think about the bigger picture or anything else or any other use for people who don't play the way that they want you to. I could use something like Titanfall 2 as a great example. In Frontier Defense, the entire game is one round of people running around shooting, and then the rest of the game is in the Titan. There's no reason not to get in the Titan because there's nothing for the pilot to do. And players who don't want to be in a Titan, if you could get cool shit while you're running around using the movement, it would be amazing. But it's almost like they never thought to implement anything that way. And it leaves another facet of the game empty. Much like here, where there's all these healing items, but where's the items for people that don't want to use healing items and want to get some kind of cool benefit? It just doesn't exist.
No, because they go with the fact that everyone's gonna have a hard time, and you're gonna have to play it that way regardless, you know, of
definitely.
the evolution.
This is a game where you're meant to heal in it.
Yes, pretty much.
Completely.
It is definitely. I mean, you come across quite a lot of those healing items along the way. I mean, you have the blue essence for this too. You have chests of blue essence. I mean, I could keep going, you know, but there's a lot of things, and you see the broom, it's done, and you know what pisses me off in that one is that on Master Ninja, actually, the Fiend challenge that would be useful to do are the ones that are the hardest, you know?
Oh, definitely.
Like, I think there's one where you get a Jewel of the Demon Seal, and it's something like Wolfane and Lycans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fun combination.
Terrible fucking combination. Actually, I think it's the one right here, you know, that's not activated. I think it's this one basically right here.
I honestly can't remember the tests all that much because I only ever did them once because I really didn't like the flow of a lot of them because they seemed to put together people that were just frustrating, intentionally awkward and unorthodox amounts of enemies.
Yeah, and also, it's mostly, I think, due to the fact that the combination is shit. And I was saying 2 seconds ago that the Fiend challenge was there, but no, that's the one I just fucking did. Like, the combination is just shit of the enemies, I think. Like, this one was, like, the least worst, if that makes sense.
And yet it was still really tedious.
It was,
which is my argument against it. Why would they put content in that's needlessly fiddly and awkward and difficult, but not fun? Like, I love challenge, and I love it to be fun challenge, but many games tread that line of tedium.
You're not supposed to have fun, it's a video game.
Exactly. No fun allowed.
Yeah, zero fun allowed. I mean, they want you to play the game a certain way, and that's it. Here, actually, this is supposed. There you go. They're supposed to be coming towards me because there's a certain amount of archers spawning, and it
Yeah.
goes to when there's nobody in there, and they cannot aim at you. One of them is going to be running at you automatically.
I do miss the claws. It's been a while since we've seen them.
Yeah, it's a great weapon, though. Like useful against the Van Gelf, the humanoid enemy also.
So pretty much great against everything, right?
Good deal well, not against mechanical enemy.
Well, yeah. There's always something that's not the best against, but when that doesn't work, what do? Spam UTs like a good player, dog.
Yeah. You change the weapon, you adapt, definitely.
Or you do the weapon runs on Master Ninja like a true Master Ninja, and then you get really frustrated at every fight that doesn't suit the weapon.
Yeah, right. Because that's funny. I was seeing those achievements, and I thought some of them would be cool, but then you're thinking, man, when I get to that part and I'm using like that weapon, what will I do? Like just one chapter you gotta keep anticipating is chapter 11. So you're like, what weapon would I use?
Easiest chapter in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So easy. What weapon would I use on that really easy chapter?
Obviously the Vigorian flails, that's really good against Resetsu, right?
Yeah, Vigorian. Yeah, Vigorian flail all the way. Not upgraded though. You need to mention it. Level 1 Vigorian flail.
I'm straight, dude.
And that should do the job.
Cool thing about those weapon runs is you learn to use those weapons outside of their best intended ranges, and it gives you all kinds of strategies that you would have never found because you would have never used them. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of learning to be done on a run like that, and anyone who's done it, I think you will mirror those sentiments. You learn so much about those weapons when you get put in a place where you would never use them.
Yeah, a thing also that I think could occur and that would make sense also is when they get to certain places where they can skip, they will just entirely skip, the fight to not learn the weapon. I know a lot of people would do that, I mean, there's some people that will try to make the most out of it and get better with the weapon, but I guarantee you some of these weapon only run will have a lot of skipping for that.
Imagine, chapter 2 Resetsu fight with something that's just not suited for that room, with those IS ninjas and him stomping about.
Yeah. But I right now, do you think of any weapon that would be totally inappropriate for that fight though?
Well, I personally use Falcon Talons to get rid of the ninjas and then chain it into 360 Lunas. So pretty much anything that's not that sounds not fun to me.
Yeah, but well, say if you can have some essence around from using the...
But bear in mind, what if you don't grind essence? So you've got like a level 2 Vigorian Flail or a level 2 Kusarigama.
Well, technically though, if you're doing a weapon run, aren't you supposed to be like at NG plus though?
That's a good question. It's been a long time since I've messed with
because technically, I mean, we'll say you cannot start a weapon run new game because you don't have the Tonfas at the beginning or a lot of the weapon, So I assume that to do these weapon run, you need to like have them all when you start the game at that certain level. So
it's been so long since I've done new games. I can't even remember.
And I never played new games, so I can't really say, but I assume that's how it would work, because if not, it makes no sense. How can
So what you've got to do, dude, right?
Yeah.
You've got to do a full Master Ninja run, no upgrades, and then you can do a weapon run with no upgrades from the start and redefine what it means.
Oh my god, dude. Like the no upgrade in that game would be pretty insane too, because just think of the Lunar having no 360 attack level 1. That shit would be awful. The damage is very low. It's good against gray ninjas at the beginning, but it would be fucking terrible, So
It would be something else.
level 1 dragon sword. And what's funny though is you telling me, for example, that you were using that at first, for example, against Genshin and all.
Dude, I beat the entire game with a dragon sword. It's all I used to use.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It was my safety blanket of Ninja Gaiden.
And what is mine?
Well, I think we're looking at it, aren't we? It's the quintessential staff.
Lunar. Well, it's one of the few weapon, I guess, that has kind of similar abilities as NGB.
Yeah. You can tell where you've come from. I think most players who know Ninja Gaiden will see that from just the way you play with it, because you're a lot more comfortable with this weapon, and it shows.
Yeah, it's a great weapon. It's a great all-around weapon. UT is one of those UT also that I like due to the fact that it cannot really be interrupted. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it happen, but that's just, I think, shenanigan of this game that happened anyway at any time with any weapon. So it's not.
That's pretty much just the game, isn't it?
It's not really a reference. You see them glitching there? It was kind of
They have
weird.
problems with this door, so he does this wonderful jumping exercise.
And I don't know, I thought at first also I cut one while it was midair, but basically one needs to come up for the other one to be able to come up,
I might have said this a few times, so I apologise if I'm repeating myself, but watching you fight the Van Ghels in this game looks so much more fun than what they are in Razor's Edge.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it to me off stream actually when we were talking. You said that they're like really tanky. And I guess you can probably not delimb them very fast and all of that, so they take forever.
Like to give you an idea, when you spammed Graveyard Spin against Zidonius?
Yeah.
Like 3/4 in that, you've killed a Van Ghels.
Like about 3/4 of a life bar.
3/4 of Zidonius' life, you've killed one Van Ghels.
Damn.
It just doesn't feel good.
No, that's not cool. And there's no way to delimb them or anything, basically.
Well, you can delimb them. They've made the delimb system so much more unfun, basically. So there's a chance that you might delimb him on the first Graveyard Spin and then just execute him. But there's times when I've hit a Van Ghels with like 5 or 6 Graveyard Spins and no delim and killed it.
Yeah, that sounds quite bad. I don't know why they changed the
And when you compare it to forward Y, like it's such a perfect system.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed the delim that much, though. Across those games, man.
It's the difference in directors. It has to be the difference between Itagaki's philosophy and Hayashi's version is the difference between Sigma 2 and this. The difference between Ninja Gaiden 3 and good Ninja Gaiden games.
Yeah. It's because this one, like, they throw insane amount of enemies at you, and sometimes, well, a lot of time it's not fun, but with the right move, there is a very high delim rate, in here, that you don't feel like, sometimes, but you don't feel like you have to search for that delim, to happen. It's going to happen naturally if that makes sense.
It feels like a natural rhythm of the game.
Exactly. It goes with the flow of the game. My only complaint basically about those is what I said many times, and same if I repeat myself, I apologize, but is that I just wish sometimes it was more fluid in the fight. How you delim someone. For example, if I do a guillotine throw against a wall, the guy is delim. I don't have to wait a fraction of second for the body to slightly drop down for me to be able to connect with that.
If the OTs were more dynamic.
Yeah, just straight up, whatever the position. If you're near the enemy, he goes in a certain way to be able to do the OT basically. That's what I would have done. But I don't know. I guess that was also the first game that they started doing that, so maybe it's easier, said than actually applied in the game.
It was a new mechanic.
It was entirely new, so yeah.
And I've never really seen it since, to the extent that this game did it.
Yeah,
they did it so gracefully too.
It is brutal.
I don't think the game gets enough credit for its damage system, and I'm going to constantly sing its praise because it's one of the things I enjoyed the most. And we got a lot of clones for every other type of game. Think of all the Souls clones we get now. Where's the Ninja Gaiden 2 damage system clones? Those are what I want to see. And don't you dare say Ninja Blade or Yaiba, because I will hunt you, I will find you, and I will Liam Neeson you.
But I agree, and you know what? Maybe they could do those type of thing if they did, for example. But like, I don't know. I'll check your take on that. But do you think they could possibly achieve that type of violence if they would go kind of like Neo, but with no stamina?
I think if they took the stamina away from Neo, it would make for a really interesting direction that game would go in. And in Neo 2, there are these moments where the yokai take you to this dark realm, to this shadow zone, and when you're in there, all your ki gets affected by it. And what I would like to see for just the future of that series to differentiate itself is if there was no stamina at all unless you were in those zones. And those zones became a key balance of the game, like a polarity system, where at any moment they can do that, and when you're in there, you have to think about the game in a completely different way. And they could use it as a dynamic way to shift between, advantage and disadvantage at all times, and that could be really interesting. There's a game called Ikaruga that did that in a shooting game, in a shoot 'em up, a shmup, and it was amazing if you ever played that game. So I'd love to see that.
Never heard of it. Sounds cool though.
It's a classic treasure game.
But that again, I agree with this. Basically, they should do something like that. I think.
But can you imagine what you could do in Neo if there was no stamina? Because even
A
the
lot
key
of things.
pulsing and all the swapping the stances to get it back, you can't refresh it quick enough to do some of the stuff you might want to do. You have to make your build really high level to have enough stamina to make some of it possible. Like, you can't even do half that stuff if you restrict your level in that game.
And you see, that's why also makes it kind of sad is that that's a Team Ninja game and they go the Souls way. It's what you say. Where's the love, for the Ninja Gaiden, where everybody is on the same base, if you want. That's one thing I love about this. Nobody can say that someone has better weapon than them along the way unless they're not upgrading, and it's totally different. Like,
there's no way to out cheese the game with leveling and RPG statistics. In this game, you have to earn every inch of progress, and even if you grind and farm essence, you still have to earn it because it's never going to give it you.
Except in chapter
There's
1.
no living
basically.
weapon.
Except in chapter 1, at the beginning, you farm there forever, but then, like...
But even then,
yeah.
I know I could give the pad to people who would still not be able to do that chapter with a level 4 dragon sword. Because this game is going to destroy you. You have to respect it, you have to learn to fight it, or it will just destroy you.
Right, yeah, regardless of the weapon. Basically, what you're saying, and I agree, is that if you give that, say, New Game Plus, all weapon, all upgraded to, like, someone that is, like, new to the game or anything, they're gonna get destroyed. Or just someone that is not good. They're gonna get destroyed regardless of the arsenal that they have access to,
Because your character in this game does get better, but you as a player are the person who improves the most.
Yes.
That's the difference between a good and a bad player. It's how much you've learned and how much you can execute when you play. Because Ryu has a plateau, he peaks. You don't.
No.
That's why these games are so fascinating. Because everybody's still trying to get better, trying to eke out better performance, and they're never ever satisfied.
Yeah, and by the way, real quick, that fight is cancer.
Yep, super cancer.
That's all I was gonna say, because I was looking at that shit and I was like, man, those fights are... I mean, I committed to them because I told you at this point I had done it, we might as well do it. But I just think they're not fun fight.
Will you skip them on your next run? You're gonna say no, aren't you?
I don't know. You know what I'm gonna try to do for real? I might try to go with the claw in the air combo because they're close together.
Ooh, that would be sweet to see that. Some balls and combos on the flyers.
Yeah.
I bet they don't even have hitboxes. You watch. I bet you can't even hit them.
That would be hilarious though. I wouldn't be surprised, but now that you said it, I could pull up like I'm doing to Alexei and basically drag and basically that's the chapter with Alexei, but you guys will see what I do on Alexei. But the same move, that move is really good. Technically, it's kind of the only way I could see to do what we mentioned multiple times, basically the chain of flying swallow or whatever between flying enemies.
Did you ever play a game called Onimusha, Godfather?
I've played the third one very long ago.
Onimusha 3.
I don't remember it well, to be honest. It's very, very blurry because I played it at a friend's house. He had the game, and I remember, what amazed me in that game,
obviously Jean Reno, right? And his sexy whip.
Like the fucking demo like trailer cutscene or whatever,
Oh, yeah, the
where he
CGI.
fights the guy and he absorbed the soul. And no, that was one of the best fucking like cinematic
Yes, it
trailer
was.
I've ever seen for any game, dude. Especially for that time. You look the fighting, you know, where he's fighting
was so
those
ahead of its
dude.
time,
It was amazing, you know. That's one thing that I recall from this. So basically, no, I did not play enough to know the point of reference you're making, but you can say it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will know what you're talking about, you know.
In Onimusha, there was a counter system known as the Isen, which when an enemy went to attack you, if you pressed attack as it was about to hit you at a perfect time, you would do a counter attack, which killed them instantly and gave you better drops. And you could do it to pretty much everything by the time you got to Onimusha 3. And that mechanic had evolved so much that if there was a room with 5 people and they were close enough, if you pressed the attack at the perfect moment, you could just go dead, 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 and chain it between the whole room. It looked awesome, it was tight enough to be very skillful, and it was really satisfying. And that's the kind of system where that flying swallow between flying enemies would be really good, because it'd be skillful to do, but at the same time really badass and really satisfying.
Yeah, as long as you say, as long as there's some kind of timing, you know, not the type of that I heard, by the way, for example, Sekiro parry, where you can just smash
30 frame parry window,
where you can just smash the fucking thing,
that
like
cancels into itself.
Because this one in here, I mean, what you described to me makes me think of the kind of the counter attack in this game, and I'm not talking about how fluid it is, because the counter attack in this game is shit between me and you. We talked about it. It's shit. Why? Because the counter attack sometimes does not work as a counter attack.
They
like
can dodge
they
the
can
bloody
dodge.
counters.
Yeah, they can dodge the bloody counter attack, and it's really annoying. But it doesn't take out the fact that the timing to do a counter attack in that game is really hard. Like in the middle of the flow of a combat, you cannot start mashing square, dude. Like your counter attack will never pop up. So that's why the counter attack is really tight, and I respect those type of, you know, they punish you if you don't do it at the right time. But if you do it at the right time, you get that awesome, you know, moment in the fight.
Look at Royal Guard. May cry.
Yeah, but though, do you say that they went and if you want, we're more lenient in DMC5 compared
all
to
the scrubs were mashing Royal Guard? It didn't mean anything. I'm talking Royal Guard from Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah.
Try landing it on that motherfucker standing there.
Yeah.
Now that means that's a skillful display of somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I used to roll and jump because I'm a scrub.
And but you see, that's the type of thing that I respect, that type of timing, that it's tight, it's hard, but when you get it, it is that much more satisfying
because
to
that's
watch.
How it should be, dude.
Yeah, that
it's
I
not meant
think
to
it
be
is.
Like bloody Sekiro. Which I have to say. So you're trying to tell me that Sekiro is not the best game in the world, Godfather? Because if so, we might be fighting after this.
Yeah,
it's
the
hardest and best game ever made. We now live in a post-Sekiro world, so watch your goddamn tongue.
I'm sorry, Dad.
You're welcome, son.
All right. So right now I'm heading to Alex. Actually, I'm heading to the boss, and it's funny because the first time around, you know, there's people like on the stream that was wondering if I was gonna use the dual sword.
Yeah,
you know?
dual sword.
And I don't know if you can. Did you expect me to use them? You know,
I did, yes.
You thought I was gonna use them, but like, did you?
Almost everyone at this point, when they get the dual swords, uses the dual swords. From what I've seen from watching a lot of Ninja Gaiden back in the day, because they just seem to have a tool for a lot of situations and they do a lot of good damage.
But they did, most of these people like will say with the 360, you know, that
No, it was the combos.
Okay.
The forward Y has a really good stun to it that you can hit confirm from, and there's a standard combo with the dual swords. I forget what it was. I think even Rhyme recommended it back on his old videos.
You see, I thought I could go over, by the way, and I could not anyway. So you cannot go there, guys. I just wanted to tell you. Okay, I found out. Okay, go ahead with Rhyme. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people use the dual swords because they're very strong. I don't think a lot of casual players understand that the 360 is so blessed in iframes, and then the more pro players, they realize that it has a big downside because it has a vast recovery too. So you do see 360Y a lot, but A lot of the times, I think they just use the utility of it.
But from you though, okay, so from you doing it with the
I
dual
also
sword.
used dual swords my first time.
More.
Afterwards, I used claws.
Okay. More damage or less?
I just loved the claws. I loved messing with the combos.
But that's what I'm saying. The combo that I'm doing, they do more damage than the one with the dual sword or not?
This is a long time ago, Godfather. You're asking me to recount things that, like, it's like asking me, you know, what my favorite song was when I was 8. It's just too long ago.
All right.
Like the YouTubers that I watched do Ninja Gaiden videos back in those days, you can't even find their channels anymore. So, like, we're talking Shinobi era, and he went back to Valhalla, you know.
Yeah, too good for this world.
Yeah, guy was ahead of his time. Very good player.
Yeah, he was. So that combo, man, does like a lot of damage.
Yeah, so much damage
on that guy. And the only thing that pains me at the end of that fight is that I told you I kind of missed the preemptive like hit here when he goes into
a little bit soon, right?
Too early. It like didn't like there you go. It wasn't too bad in the end, you know. Didn't do anything.
But the good news is later on in this project, you redeem yourself and you show the timing
on the second
one. Improved.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, I hope you enjoyed chapter 4, and I will see you next time. I'm gonna let Seraphim conclude.
Yep, Master Ninja there on the scoring, because of course that's exactly what he is. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying this series. Enjoy it. You are going to be watching something rather unique, and you won't see this every day. You take care now.